good evening to those of you joining us live, possibly on Twitch. That sounds crazy to say. Possibly on Facebook, possibly on YouTube. We appreciate you tuning in live. That is the ultimate experience. You get to see all of our smiling faces as we talk about things that we enjoy. My name is Rod Morgan. I will serve as the host here on the Morgan Podcasting Network for an episode of Balls and Brew Live, followed by a live episode of Yeah, We Know, the wrestling podcast. I am joined by the executive producer of this and every podcast on the network. Man sends out our social media clips. He makes us broadcast live. He co-hosts multiple shows. What can't he do? He is James Thomas Jamriska.
The things I can't do, get more subscribers to the actual podcast. That would be nice, but our shorts are doing fantastic. And I love football. I love special teams, and I love block field goals. Something I never would have said last year.
That is very true. We have seen wild special teams this year. Chris's take last year of kickoffs were going to be wild didn't turn out to pan last year, but 1 year later, he was absolutely right, and that's kind of how things work for old man, and that's how we love him. He's Chris King. Chris, hello.
Yeah, I'm usually 1 year ahead of the curve. Seems to happen a lot. Fails me in the wins league every year.
Ahead of the curve, that's what we're going with. That's what you're going to try to spin it for the people.
I'm not wrong.
He's not wrong. Someone else we always hope is not wrong is our football handicapper, our man who makes the picks against the spread. And last week he got one. He's off the schneid. So now it is time for the hot streak to begin. It is our guy, Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
Man, what's up, boys? Yeah, I didn't even need the points. Giants outright. So let's go. Let's try to get on the track here.
Absolutely. What we like to do at the beginning of the podcast to warm up, right? Remember how you do warm-ups in gym? We like to get the juices flowing a little bit, the cold open question of the week. But I'm throwing a curveball. Yeah, that's right. I said curveball. Jimmy, we are foregoing the cold open question this week to allow you to do 3 minutes on the baseball playoffs. Jimmy Jam, go.
Go, Cubs, go. They won. I can't believe they won. Oh, my goodness. They wanted to give it away. Keller, hey, let's just hit everybody that bats in the ninth inning. That's fine. Let's walk a guy on a pitch that was about 8 feet out of the zone, but they called a strike. That's fine. We'll take it. Williams, they won, had a heart attack.
Yeah, man. It's the combined score of the 3-game series of the Cubs and Padres. It was Cubs 6, Padres 5.
Love it.
I love low-scoring playoff baseball. It's fantastic. And then if you don't like low-scoring playoff baseball, just go over to watch the Dodgers and Reds where Shohei just hits a homer every other time. So he's unbelievable, too. Man, I know Rod hates baseball, but you had some awesome stories this year. Seattle, the first time they've won the division since 2001, Rod. Remember Ichiro? Remember Jay Buhner? Remember Edgar Martinez? That's the last time they won the division.
Remember Cal Raleigh?
Yeah.
I was about to say, Jimmy, darn it, you trumped me on that. I was about to say, don't think I don't know who Cal Raleigh is with his 60 home runs. That's incredible for a catcher. That's big-time stuff.
Yeah, and
okay, Chris.
He better win future MVP this year, too. He better win it.
He's not going to, but it's a nice thought. Hey, Chris King, quick question for you. Listen, you almost cost the Cubs the game here, buddy. What's going on?
I have brought some sort of jinx to the Cubs franchise this year, and I don't know exactly how. I have been watching way more Cubs games this year than I have in the past few years, and it seems like every time I watch the game, they lose. Or maybe I'm catching in the middle of the game, and they're up by 4 runs, and then they just fall apart. Or tonight, I show up at around the 8th inning, and all of a sudden, you start seeing guys getting called out when they probably would have been safe a couple years ago. You're seeing weird stuff happen on the base paths. You're seeing...
What do you mean weird? What's weird? Are we talking like Morgana, the kissing bandit, has risen from the dead and coming out? Like, what's happening? What do you mean weird?
Well, no. PCA stole a base, right? And he was definitely safe, but they reviewed it, and because the guy's leg was in the way...
They reviewed it? They have review in baseball now?
Yeah. And
so that's what I want to get to here before, but go ahead real quick.
Yeah, the guy's leg was in the way, so it essentially broke PCA's hold on the bag with his leg, but still had a glove on him. So since the Padres challenged the safe call, they reviewed it and found that he came off the bag while the glove was still on him, and now he's out.
Rod, think of it as that out of bounds play where someone hits it, but the guy who had the ball to begin with, his finger technically touched it last, but it really shouldn't have.
Okay,
that's kind of where we are in baseball now. I do want to say a couple quick things here. Couple quick things. This 3-game series, we've had it for about 3 years now, where the home team gets all 3 games. I love it. I think it just so much on that road team, and I'm saying that because the Cubs are the home team, and that's fine. But I do love that a lot. I think the pitch clock and the pace of play, Rod, has just transformed the game. After the 8th inning, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do some stuff. I come back, they're already pitching to the next guy. It was fantastic. And then finally, this ABS system, where the balls and strikes, where you can call, it's going to change a ton of games, Williams.
Yeah, the Cubs caught a break there with the second batter.
Oh my God,
that was ball 4. So next year might have taken that victory away from the Cubs. Who knows? But all in all, it should be a good thing for baseball next year.
All right, I think we did good, Rod.
Who do the Cubs go on to play now?
Brew Crew,
Milwaukee.
At Milwaukee. Yeah, Brew Crew. It's going to be a battle. They're good.
Are they going to like welcome Craig Counsell home like a conquering hero, or are they?
They're
going
to play the video beforehand, and like in the 7th inning stretches, his wife and kids are going to come and sing the 7th inning stretch. That'll be nice.
All right.
Brewers are susceptible. They just lost their final series of the season to the Reds, and that allowed the Reds to get into the playoffs.
All right, listen, that's enough. No, the Mets choked, Chris. Stop framing it that way. The Mets choked, all right, because the Mets always choke, because the Mets are the Mets, all right? Don't think I don't know a little bit about baseball, all right? I'm a knowledgeable sports fan. That's why I host a sports podcast, all right? Let's move on to what we normally do here. We talk about the NFL, and let's just keep making fun of Chris right here. His team, the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody was freaking out like they won the game, except they didn't win the game, Chris. It was a tie. We went all the way to overtime and had a tie at 40-40. Are you excited that your Cowboys tied against the Packers?
I mean, the Packers should be worried. I thought their defense was supposed to be top tier, right? I mean, we saw what the Bears were able to do to the Cowboys, and the Packers couldn't match it even with Micah Parsons. Maybe Micah Parsons isn't as relevant as what Williams was hoping as he was at the beginning of the year, all right? I mean, we just put up 40. I don't know how that helped Green Bay in this situation. I will say this, as a Dallas fan, we don't like ties, Rod. All right, we don't believe in ties. We haven't had a tie in Dallas since 1969. All right, we don't like it. I'm a little bit bothered by it.
Yeah, you thought you were old then when they had the last tie. You didn't think you'd see another one, and then here you are, still around for the next one. My goodness, old man. Jimmy Jam, your thoughts on Sunday Night Football? We had a long day of football. We started in the morning with the Europe game, right? We went all through. We had a doubleheader up here in the north anyway, with the Colts and the Bears on both at 4. And then we rolled into Sunday Night Football. And then we had an overtime game, and it was a tie. Jimmy, your thoughts? Were you exhausted, or did you enjoy it?
I didn't think it was going to be a tie. I thought the Packers were going to lose it. What was Jordan Love doing? You do know how much time is left in the clock, right? And if you look at the pass, if it is just a little bit to the left or the right, that clock's going to go another second. Listen, I've got a heel, but my second heel was the Dallas scorekeeper. Like, what, the clock guy? What's going on? What are you doing?
What are you doing, scorekeeper? The wrestling fan of Jimmy is coming out right there. Williams, I know you have some thoughts about this game, and we're going to frame it around one of our favorite segments every week, when Williams absolutely lets a coach have it. Our guy Josh Williams doesn't come down harshly on the players very often, but he will let the coaches have it for bad decisions. So here we are, week 4. Are you serious?
Yeah, first, before we get there, in the Super Bowl era, teams that scored at least 40 points and had no turnovers at home, Dallas Cowboys, were 300-0 until the Cowboys tied on Sunday night.
We buck trends, Williams, all right? We buck trends. We are not the rule. We are the exception.
That is unbelievable. But yeah, are you serious? Has to go to Matt LaFleur. Jimmy touched on it a little bit. First off, you're up 13-2 with under 6 minutes to go in the first half with the ball against that Dallas D, and you can't hold the lead going into the half. I imagine having Packers money line first half there. That's brutal. He gets out of his mind aggressive with Love after Dallas scores a touchdown. So it's 13-9 with 21 seconds left from your own 27. You take a deep drop back, and Love is so lackadaisical with the ball that he fumbles after getting pressure from around the edge. Cowboys recover. Next play, touchdown to Pickens. So I feel like that scenario right there made LaFleur go to complete opposite end of the spectrum at the end of OT. Ultra out of his mind conservative. What in the world was that at the end of OT for Matt LaFleur? I get not wanting to leave Brandon Aubrey any time to kick like a 68-yard field goal for the win. But does he not know? Does he not know the rules of overtime? That if you just score a touchdown after the Cowboys settle for a field goal, that the game is actually over and you win. So the clock is ticking down from 28 seconds. It's a 3rd and 14 from the Dallas 16. So they should hike it around 10 to 12 seconds. Normal play takes 4 to 6 seconds, incomplete throw it out of bounds, go set yourself up for the game-tying field goal if you don't score a touchdown. But no, the clock just keeps on ticking. Tick, 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 tick. What are you doing? You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Eberflus last year on Thanksgiving at Detroit, not spiking the ball, just mind-boggling with the time management from these coaches. His presser was even wilder. Did you guys hear his presser? He said it was like being in a slow-motion car crash, that the time just kept ticking off the clock. I was like, you can tell Love to just go up and spike the ball. Go throw it out of bounds. What are you doing trying to throw that touchdown? Jimmy Wright, if that ball gets knocked up in the air, if it hits the upright, the Cowboys win that game. And I have to ask Chris, what is up with the home clock operator? How does that guy not go to 0 on that clock? Matt LaFleur, are you serious?
Right. You definitely have to, if you're the hometown clock keeper, you let that go to 0, right? Listen, I'm happy that we kind of embarrassed the Packers. We didn't get the win, we probably should have, but we did embarrass the Packers. All right. That's what I'm excited about. And your guys' boy Tomlin should be real happy that LaFleur did this on Sunday night, because he tried to win this award Sunday morning.
Yes, I almost went Tomlin here, but I was like, I got to go LaFleur. But they're neck and neck. Tomlin, I don't know what was going on with Tomlin there. And they both won the games. This is unbelievable.
I was gonna say, nothing's going on with Tomlin. Aaron Rodgers looks absolutely fine. He's throwing the ball completely down the field. He's just sitting back there in the pocket, taking all the hits. You know what I mean? Things are fine in Pittsburgh. They're 3-1. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking?
Hey, you know what though? At least Tomlin's and the offense is using Aaron Rodgers. Everything he can do, they're letting him do. Go back, throw the ball before you take your second step, and you're fine. That's all you need. Good job.
Yep.
Tomlin not going for it on 4th and 1 from the opponent's 36 and been plenty. Just, my God, just terrible.
Listen, has anybody ever looked cooler making a worse decision than Mike Tomlin? When
No.
they cut to him over there on the sidelines, right, with the shades on, right, the beard and the bald head, just arms crossed, looking all pissed. Come on.
Our love-hate relationship with Tomlin on this pod is just peak.
He's
That's
content,
peak
baby.
football.
He's content for us. And you know what else is content, Jimmy Jam? Our favorite team. Our favorite team won. I don't care how ugly it was. I don't care that Geno Smith continues to look terrible. The Bears won 2 in a row, Jimmy. The streak starts now.
That's a game the Bears always lose. It's a game that they should have won. They dominated on defense. They did. They did a really good job. Oh, wait, Ashton Genty played, didn't he? Ashton Genty. Here's the thing. When you draft a guy 6th overall, and he has a unique thing about him that has gotten him to 6th overall, you don't change that. You don't have him not stand up straight in the backfield. The second he stands up straight, of course it has to be against the Bears. He is the greatest running back of all time, so good for him. But listen, Bears, this was a team win. It was a culture win. I really do believe that. I think I was listening to somebody on CHGO that said, your special teams have to want to block the punt or block the field goal or make that play, and they did. Let's go. And you know what? The Bears are going to have the exact same stadium as the Raiders do, so let's go.
I like that. Special teams is definitely want to. You know what I mean? Those guys are trying to show that, hey, I can do more than special teams. So I like that, Jimmy. Special teams is all about want to. Williams, our favorite team, 2 straight wins. How you feeling?
The Bears were pretty fortunate to win that game. The Raiders.
Shut up, Williams.
The Raiders were pretty terrible in that game. The Bears got 4 turnovers and had to settle for a blocked field goal to get that win. We'll take it, but Bears got to get better. I actually downgraded the Bears just a little bit, and I know we're going to talk about a certain other team that you guys like, and I know you're probably super disappointed, but I was massively impressed with the Indianapolis Colts after a loss this week. So I'd actually rather talk about the Colts than the Bears. The Bears are going on a bye.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let's go to our guy Jimmy Jamriska with the face and heel of the week. We will get to the Colts. I have a feeling for the latter, but let's start with one more positive. Jackson Dart, right, Jimmy? That's the face of the week. It's got to be, right? Rookie quarterback winning.
He came out, won a game against the undefeated Chargers. My Chargers, of course, I picked them. My bad, all you LA fans. But hey, he looked good. He and Scatterboo, listen, they are going after it. And there is nothing wrong with the Giants right now. Everything is really going great for them, except for their wide receiver who's out for the year again because the turf, it's got to be malpractice. Someone's got to be sued over this. How many awesome players are going to be hurt by this turf in New York? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems as if we have a problem with the turf, right? And it's not necessarily, I guess I heard somebody say this the other day, Chris, and I want to take your thoughts in on this. It's not necessarily the turf, right? You can have a turf. It's all about the upkeep and the surface, right? So it's a little bit more about maintenance, and it seems like something is lacking as far as maintenance goes for Giant Stadium.
Yeah, and in the landscaper business, when you say turf, you need to make a distinction too, because turf can be real grass that you're laying out there in rules. We're talking about a synthetic,
but that's not always an answer either, because
thing.
Chicago, the Bears have real turf, and that's a garbage stadium field sometimes too. You know what I mean? So turf can be bad either way.
Right? Yeah, it definitely can be, and that's the thing. It's the turfs that you see people that are playing on when you don't have to wear cleats of any type. You're essentially wearing cross trainer type shoes, right? You got real good grip. It's synthetic grass. It's just not natural. And I think that's where you run into the issue. And we know that we can make these changes, right? This specific stadium is putting in real grass and real turf for FIFA next year. All right.
Yeah.
They are doing that for FIFA because FIFA requires it. What's going to happen? We're going to go right back to turf after FIFA leaves because the NFL does not require it. And the reason they don't require it is because too many owners need to milk as much money per year out of these stadiums. And it's easier to do that by being able to have multiple different types of events or concerts or what have you during the week. And you can do that more when you have a concrete floor where you're just rolling out a synthetic turf for Sunday. But then you can roll it back up and have 2-3 concerts, a convention, everything else in between. And then those owners can earn upwards of $50 million extra a year in revenue from other types of events. And that's why you're not going to see it change.
Turf talk. Absolutely love it. How about that? You know, if you have a heel, you have to have a face. That's storytelling. That's what makes wrestling fabulous. Jimmy, the other side of the coin.
Okay, here's the deal. The Colts won a game they should have lost against the Broncos. They lost a game they should have won against the Rams. Literally because Donnie Mitchell, made 2 horrendous plays. And, you know, when you're going into the end zone, and you make that play, you try to push the ball out and celebrate, you drop the ball. But his reaction afterwards of just going to go pout and people are coming up to him, Zaire Franklin came up to him to try to be a leader. That got me more than anything else because it's like, no, it's about me. I hated that. Definitely the heel of the week. The holding, I mean, it's a hold and it sucks that it was a hold on a touchdown. It really does, but it could have happened on any play. The reaction, the fact that he didn't try to do better next is really bad. AD Mitchell's got to be the heel. And he can't catch.
Yeah, that was my thing last year. I was not impressed with him really as a rookie. And then everybody told me he was going to be great this year. And I'm just kind of like, well, here we go. A guy single-handedly cost the Colts 14 points. So that was not great. Williams, will go to you after this because I know you said you had some Colts thoughts. I come away from that game being impressed again by Danny Dimes. Right? You're not seeing any of the Justin Herbert type throws or like, you know, a pretty spinning ball or anything like that. But what you're seeing is a guy who has zero problem just standing in the pocket and getting waylaid if it takes that extra half second to try to make the throw. And then he can still throw with a little bit of accuracy. And as much as I rode the Anthony Richardson train, Richardson clearly could not take a hit because we saw him suffer multiple injuries even in the few amount of games that he played. And he clearly couldn't throw passes with any accuracy because we never really saw any completion. So I'm impressed with Danny Dimes. I'm still angry that the Colts started him on a 1-year contract, but I'm impressed with Danny Dimes, Williams.
Yeah, first, we'll get back to the Colts in a second. I have this crazy Jackson Dart Malik Neighbors. Did you guys see this stat here? the comparison between OBJ and Neighbors, both first-round picks for the Giants, both from LSU, both suffer a season-ending injury on that MetLife turf, both versus the Chargers, and both passes were thrown by Ole Miss quarterbacks. What in the world is that likelihood? That's unbelievable. Okay.
It's like Final Destination stuff right there, and then a sequel.
Yes, exactly. As for the Colts, I upgraded them massively, actually, on the power rankings. One, because this should have been a terrible spot for the Colts. You're going out to L.A. after the Rams blew, and I mean blew that game against the Eagles. You got a pissed off Rams team. The Colts had not won in L.A. since 1986, and they controlled that entire game. I mean, that was impressive.
Are we talking Jack Trudeau? Did you happen to see who the Colts quarterback was when they won? Was it Jack Trudeau?
It could have been. It could have been, man. And I'm just super impressed with Steichen's play calling. JT is finally healthy. You've got some weapons. You've got Lou Anarumo as the defensive coordinator, which is a massive, massive upgrade. And quite frankly, the GM for the Colts, Ballard, he should have been put in jail for having Gus Bradley stay with the Colts at DC for how long as he did, because this is a massive upgrade for the Colts. And if you look at the Colts' remaining schedule, this team is for real. I waited to see how they were going to do against a real opponent. I thought they kind of got lucky against Denver, like Jimmy said. I mean, they controlled that game against the Rams, and the Rams, I think, are a very good team. You look at the Colts' rest of the schedule, this team is for real, man. This team is going to make some noise.
Chris, 3-1. Colts look good. You told us.
Right. Tyler Warren is looking legit. Like, that was the correct tight end to take in the first round in this last year's draft. I think he's shown that. And it's not just him pass catching either, right? This dude blocks like just about better than any other fullback tight end that's out there.
He's a good running back too.
Right? He lines up wherever you need him. He gets the job done. Like in that offensive line, right? Even though we see Indiana Jones taking some hits, we know what Jonathan Taylor is still able to do now behind this line. Like, they are pushing.
Chris, explain
and
something
dominating.
to me. You've been on this planet for a long time. How does somebody like Jonathan Taylor, who's more years into his career and has suffered all these injuries, somehow look faster? How is this possible?
It's wisdom, Rod. You learn, and you're able to make those quicker snap decisions. So you think people are faster, but it's called wisdom, Rod.
It's also the 2-year rule. It's 2 years after the injury.
Ah, all right. See, Jimmy Jam.
Think about that.
Chris made me laugh, but you're making sense. So that's great pod content right there. The actual answer and then one that makes you laugh. That's what you come to this show for. Chris, I guess while we're with you, let's close out our gimmicks here. Who's the Leatherhead of the week?
All right, I gotta shout out somebody in my my honorable mentions, right? If it wasn't for the fact that the winner is on a team that doesn't have much good news, honorable mention is Josh Allen, all right? You want to talk about Leatherheads, you think about old school football. The quarterback does everything. He runs, he throws, he jumps over the line, right? He does everything. Well, Josh Allen, with 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown run, tied the NFL record with 45 games with at least 1 pass and 1 rushing touchdown in the same game. 45 times Josh Allen has done that in the NFL. Tied the NFL record. Leatherhead. But let's go to our winner. This guy plays for the Jets, all right? The Jets don't have a lot of good things going for him, all right? And I got to give him a little bit of love because I don't think it's going to come up for me again this year. But right now, Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle for the Jets, this dude is just dominating the interior. You can't run on the inside against him. He has the best grade in the NFL so far against runs. This last game, 4 stops and a forced fumble against the run. So, like, dude is just dominating the interior of that line wherever he's at, and that's about the one bright spot for the Jets.
See, I just feel like you're trolling me at this point because I got all confident and chesty that the Jets were going to bounce back. They were going to play hard for Aaron Glenn. The Dolphins were a train wreck, and then that was completely opposite of what we saw in that game. I feel like you're just trolling me here, Chris.
Hey, I got to call it like I see it, Rod, and this dude is a bright spot for the Jets. You cannot run inside the guards against this guy. He is stuffing it up and just wrecking havoc on offensive lines.
Jimmy Jam, Chris switching it up on us here. He's making it tougher for us to be able to predict the Leatherheads because Quinnen Williams does not necessarily fit the old guy distinction that Chris was kind of throwing at us there the first few weeks.
Yeah, you and I have a side bet on someone he's going to pick. I actually thought he had a good chance this week, maybe next week.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to keep it. We'll have to get that to Williams and get some odds up on that, and some of our fans can bet and see if that person you and I had predicted will ever make Chris's Leatherheads team.
I would say you could put it on social media. I won't see that.
Yep, and we love that too, Chris. That you won't get on social media to help promote the show that you're on. We absolutely love that. That's one of our favorite things about you as a podcaster.
Yep, it's easy. No problem. Jim can take care of it. Don't worry about it.
No one's going to listen to me on the social media. That's for sure.
No one's listening to any of the rest of us either. Anyway. Like, why don't you just join the crew, brother? All right, Williams got a win last week with the Giants. He was pretty confident about that one. Let's see if he's feeling pretty confident about his against the spread picks this week.
Yeah, we'll start off with Denver plus 4.5 on FanDuel at Philly this week. The Eagles are number 1 in the Action Network luck rankings. Scientific metrics. Broncos are number 24, so that should regress. Overall offensive EPA numbers, Denver is 13th, Philly is 16th. Defensive EPA numbers, Denver is 4th, Philly is 12th. Success rate on defense, Denver jumps to 3rd, Philly falls all the way down to 17th. How about this? Saquon Barkley is only averaging 2.7 yards per carry in the second halves of games so far in 2025. Last year, that number was 6.7 yards per attempt. Philly is only 30th in rushing success rate. Underdogs like Denver playing against undefeated favorites of less than 8 points like Philly have covered at a 78% clip in the past 15 years. Also, Sean Payton, 58% winning clip against the spread as a dog in his career. Now, I love Hurts in fantasy this year, but there will be a time where the turnover regression hits him. It could be this week. The last 2 years, he has 25 big-time throws compared to 22 turnover-worthy plays, but they have resulted in 28 touchdowns and only 6 picks. So you've got a good D coming in who's just had a good performance on Monday night. Philly, meanwhile, is coming off gaining, this is not a typo, they gained 17 yards in the second half on offense last week at Tampa. You wonder why Philly has been the number 1 luckiest team this year. The Eagles are the second team in the last 90 years to be 4-0 and be outgained in all 4 victories. The other team, you ask, the 2012 Arizona Cardinals did it. Guess what record they finished with? They started 4-0. They finished 5-11. And Ken Wisenhunt was fired at the end of the season. Philly has a short week coming up. They have a division game on Thursday Night Football. It could be a look ahead. Give me Denver plus 4.5 here on FanDuel.
Dude, I was totally hoping you were going to tell me that was the Dennis Green Arizona Cardinals team, and so I could give a crown their ass. I totally was hoping I could come in with that, but I guess I did it anyway. So that's what you get from me here on the podcast. All right, Denver, Philly. If we were still doing, Jimmy, remember a gimmick from years past, the Tom Cruise game of the week? I think Williams just solidified that this game will be the Tom Cruise game of the week. A, the Eagles always play in absolutely wild and weird games, and something crazy happens in every Eagles game. And B, Williams, when he picks a game against the spread, we have some sort of a heartbreaking defeat at the end. So this is a Tom Cruise game of the week now, isn't it?
I think it is because we don't really know if Denver's good or not. We kind of think they're bad, but they played the Bengals, and everyone looks good against the Bengals. R.J. Harvey, one of your big predictions at the beginning of the season, finally got some carries and did a great job with that. I'm a little worried. Again, I don't know if Denver's any good.
Chris, your thoughts on the Broncos versus the Eagles?
I don't know if the Eagles are any good, Jimmy.
See?
All right. You got a team with supposedly a great quarterback who is throwing for 138 yards a game. All right. That's first in the league. All right. That is Bryce Young in the Carolina Panthers territory. All right. I mean, that's just not what you want to see. All right. You have a
Chris
defense
was about to
that's
put
not
him
ranked.
on the Hornets. That's how bad the Hornets are. Chris was about to give him Bryce Young.
I was about ready to say the Charlotte Bobcats, if you really want to be honest.
Why were they named the Bobcats? Because the owner's name was Bob, and he wanted the team named after him.
As he should.
They also have a defense that's not ranked higher than 17th in any good metrics either. So it's still kind of phenomenal that they are 4-0 somehow, but I think that's going to run. run short here soon. I
Phenomenal.
think I'm with Williams. Let's go Denver.
Phenomenal. AJ Styles wrestling will be coming up in just a little bit. Williams, I see that you have a pick that should be like a mercy game. Like, can we just have a running clock in the fourth quarter by the end of this game?
He's
Tell
going
me
to take
why.
the over in the first quarter, Rod.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell
take
me
the
why.
over in the first quarter.
Tell me why this isn't against the spread pick that we should give any amount of time to.
Okay, just like last week when you guys thought I was crazy for taking the Giants versus the Chargers, I am taking the Cincinnati
Get
Bengals.
the hell out of here.
Plus 10.5 minus
Ooh,
110 on MGM.
That is a
They're
lot.
getting-
Double-digit points are a lot in today's NFL.
Yeah, and I know this team has looked terrible. I've been way down on Cincinnati, and I know the other team, the Detroit Lions, has looked awesome. But here are some trends here to think about. Home dogs of 10 or more are 74, 56, and 1 against the spread since 05. When those home dogs are off a loss of at least 14 points, like Cincy is, they're covering at a 60% clip since 05. You're obviously by a low market there. Home dogs, after scoring 3 or fewer points, are 61, 36, and 2 against the spread. That's 63% over the last 20 years. And just this decade alone, home dogs of 7 or more are 71, 46, and 3 against the spread. That's 61%. Detroit has cornerback injuries. Cincinnati has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Both perimeter corners could miss for Detroit. Detroit beat up this crazy banged-up Ravens defense. And this is a late 425 window game. I feel like the NFL is not going to allow, they're not going to allow Detroit to just come in here and win this game by like 40 points. Cincinnati is going to play better here. I am convinced of this. You still have, you've got Al Golden on that defensive coordinator for Cincinnati. I think there's going to be a lot of pride shown from the Bengals here. And this Detroit team is different from indoors and outdoors. And you've got Detroit also. Detroit also has a huge game coming up on Sunday Night Football in Week 6 at Kansas City. This is a classic look-ahead game for the Detroit Lions out of conference on the road. Give me the Bengals plus 10.5 at home here. You're on mute, Rod.
Rod is so
All
upset
right,
he can't
I'm
talk
sorry,
right
I
now.
apologize. But listen, why didn't we just start with the look-ahead game? Why did it take us so long to get to the look-ahead game? We all know what you mean by the look-ahead game. You could have just told us it was the look-ahead game. Chris, you were a Bengals supporter. I'm not sure where that stands with Joe Burrow now being on the bench, and you also do love the Lions. So I don't really know what you think here.
Chris
Right.
can't have this game end in a tie because he's got both teams for the Wins League.
That's the only thing that hurts me in the wins league is if it ends in a tie, I don't get a win at all. So like, I also had these two teams as our Super Bowl participants for this year as well. So like, I was definitely all in on both these teams. I cannot put any kind of trust or any type of faith into a quarterback named Browning who leaves more brown on the field than anything else. I just can't see. I can't see Bengals team putting up a offensive fight against Detroit.
Oh my goodness, Jimmy, you're gonna love this. Speaking of Brown, let's go to the Wins League standings. Jimmy,
Yeah, baby.
Jimmy, down where you belong, my friend, in the toilet, in the basement, 13 wins. Jimmy Jam, what do you have to say for yourself?
There is a possibility, a real possibility, that the last 3 teams that I picked will combine for 1 win this season. Think about that for a second. The Titans and Jets, Titans are playing, I believe, like ass, I believe is what he said. The Jets are jetsing, and the Browns have a guy who can't speak. So there's that.
It's great stuff out of Shedeur Sanders, boy. He really knows how to not speak loudly and just let his play speak for himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, great call on not going to the Ravens because he wanted to have a chance to play in Cleveland.
Yeah, work it out. So Jimmy at 13, we have a new second place, me with 16. But why the Wins League is still great fodder for this podcast is because we have a tie at the top between our handicapper and our old man, each with 17 wins. Chris, you're still sitting up high.
Hey, I am still holding on. I mean, I think I was at 15 last week, so I only got 2 wins, right? So
You should be at 18. You had 2 teams playing each other.
That's true.
Right? I have it. I'm going to get another tie this week, so it's going to be
not
2.
the Wins Tie League. It's the Wins League, buddy.
I'm just happy to be here and not be in last place.
There we go. I have the 4-0 Bills. Jimmy has the 4-0 Eagles. But if you look over at Williams' team, he's just got a lot of teams that just keep chalking up wins. Williams, almost like you knew what you were supposed to do in a wins league draft.
Well, what's crazy is that me and Chris are tied for first, but our first pick only has one win: the Ravens and Bengals.
Bengals have 2.
Yeah, Bengals have 2.
Do the Bengals have 2? Yeah.
Yeah, you're the bad one with the Ravens.
Yeah.
Ravens are going to turn it around, though. You talked about the Colts schedule ahead. The Ravens schedule ahead with the AFC North is going to the Ravens are going to be fine. All right, we have done enough talking about football, except we have to do our survivor pick. Don't think that I didn't realize that I have died 2 weeks in a row. And Jimmy, I think what that has done is, you know me, I'm more about entertainment than I am about anything else for this podcast. So what I think would be entertaining for me is to see how many times the rest of the year I can win on an absolute game that should not be picked for the survivor pool. I want to see how many times I can not die. So basically what I'm saying is my intention now is to pick a game where I probably will die, and I'm trying really, really hard to not die. That's what I think I have to do, since now I'm the first on the podcast to 2 deaths.
Well, we tied. We're both.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jimmy joined you with 2 deaths.
All right, so Rod, who do you have? Who you picking, man?
I got a couple that I'm actually still marinating on. So Chris seems pretty confident.
Okay.
Let's go to him while I marinate.
And then Williams and I will go because we've got some fun stuff to talk about.
Williams picked this team to not cover, but I'm picking them for the wins league, and that is the Detroit Lions.
Getting the Lions out of the way early, huh?
And they don't have. Hey, the Lions can win by 1 point in our wins league, and that's all that matters. So there's a difference there for sure. Good. So before we started last week, I went through and I actually did some homework, and I picked my team last week, and Williams picked his before it started. So we are both picking the Rams in our wins league to win the game tonight.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
I have no spoilers at all. Listen, the 49ers are hurt. They have Mac Jones coming in. There's no way at all that's going to happen. And the Rams are going to win, right, Williams?
But let's hope so. Let's hope so. Me and Chris have.
Are they though? I hope so.
Me and Chris, we were the first ones out, but we've won. What? We've won ever since. So we're in the lead now since you guys are 2-2.
Yep, I'm on a streak of 3 wins in a row.
No.
You guys already won, but we're still trying to go 17-1 here.
See, but that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I kind of won way early with the way that Survivor Pool actually really works, and then now I'm just like, let's just go for death. So with that said, Jimmy Jam, I am going to go to Giants versus Saints game. All right, and here is what I'm going to do. The Saints do not want to go to 0-5. They looked at their schedule at the beginning of the year and saw that there was one game that they could possibly hang with the team talent-wise, and that team is the Giants, who are going to be floating high. They're going to be doing some New York talk radio interviews. They're going to be getting asked to do some stuff for the local car dealership and all this kind of stuff in New York, and they're going to be feeling great after their win last week, and they're going to go into New Orleans and remind everybody that they are the Giants. So much for my pick for the Giants to make the playoffs that now already I'm here in week 5 of Survivor picking them to lose to the Saints. But that's my pick.
You know, Spencer Rattler is doing the best he can. He's not doing bad. He deserves to get a win in the NFL. Please get a win in the NFL before you're benched. And then Alvin Kamara's having a really good year. He's going to look great in a Bears uniform in 2 weeks. I'm very excited about that. And we'll go from there. But I think that's a pretty good out there pick, Rod.
Jimmy went growing pains on Spencer Rattler. He's doing it the best he can. Don't waste another minute on your crying. Great stuff out of Jimmy Jam there.
I love you. That's why I love you.
Yep. And you know what Jimmy also loves? He loves wrestling. So we're going to say goodbye to our football handicapper, Josh Williams, and me and the old man are going to join Jimmy on the Yeah We Know podcast. Chris, sign us off.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, Internet.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know's podcasting network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod. It's so funny that Williams doesn't know what's going on in the 49ers Rams game, by the way, just coming back from balls and Brew.
Oh, I noticed that too. I was just flipping through the schedule just to try to find my survivor pick, and flashing at me in a big bold box was that score. And I was like, oh, I was totally ready to give you guys grief for picking a game while we were doing the pod. But then because of that score, I was like, this is fabulous.
Yeah, it's back to 14-7, though, so you never know. Hey, we've got wrestling. This is interesting because we do not have a pay-per-view or a premium live event this weekend for the first time, I think, in like a year. There's so much is going on. You know, we do have Crown Jewel next weekend, but that's in the Australian Crown Jewel. So I want to talk a little bit, guys, about John Cena. A couple weeks ago, I made my prediction that Joe Hendry would be his final opponent. Mark Henry, world's strongest man. Heard of him, Chris? Have you heard of him? Okay.
Yes, I have heard of Mark Henry.
He also brought up that idea as Joe Hendry. So I'm going to go to Chris right now. Who do you want to see John Cena fight in his final match?
I don't care. Is that the wrong answer? Because
Yes.
I don't think I do.
Yes.
Well, no, listen.
We're trying to have
I
people
get.
listen to our wrestling podcast. We're supposed to care.
I know we're supposed to care, but I still am upset. And you told me this made me a real wrestling fan, that they didn't, like my take with Cena staying heel didn't keep going. I think they ruined that, and that made me lose a little bit of interest in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily matter that much to me who his final match is against. Like, I don't think that's necessarily going to even, whoever it may be, if it is a person like Joe Hendry, does it raise him up that much? Does he all of a sudden become a main eventer on WWE? No, probably not. I don't know if Cena's even in a position in WWE storyline, the way the storyline's gone, to even elevate somebody up that high, right?
So I definitely think, Chris, no matter who John Cena loses to, they're going to be elevated in one way, shape, or form. Okay. If it's
He
a
got
Joe Hendry-
eliminated bad by Solo. Solo was elevated maybe for a little bit, but not for very long. He's right back down to mid-card level.
Well, but if you think about it, Solo was going for the Ulafala. He was in a main event with Roman Reigns, multiple pay-per-views, and they just didn't go anywhere with him. So I'm going to say he'll have the opportunity, Rod, whoever faces John Cena and ultimately wins. Cena's not going to win his last match. Will have the opportunity to go to that next level.
Yeah, I love the idea of Cena going out on his back, right? Cena says he's the last real champion. You know, he said he loves the business, right? He got into the business to be a professional wrestler. So, you know, you're supposed to go out on your back, right? That's the way to do it. You're supposed to go out. You're supposed to help make somebody else for the future. You're supposed to look out for the company. That's the way that it's supposed to go down. But Jimmy, I'm starting to feel another way about it, because we all know that I believe, right? I was one of the first on this podcast to believe, right? Chris still to this day doesn't believe. So don't get me wrong about Joe Hendry here. He's fighting John Cena in his final match on Saturday night's main event, network television, NBC. Jesse the Body's there. I love it. Sign me up. Okay. But what if, Jimmy, we don't know who John Cena's final opponent is going to be, right? They sell us on, we are not telling you, it's a mystery opponent. We don't know who John Cena's final opponent is going to be. And then Metalingus hits, and Edge walks down the ramp and fights John Cena one final time. Because I hear that Edge's contract may run out in December, so we could possibly make that happen, but we can't have a build-up. So that's why I said what I said. Mystery opponent. And it's Edge.
I can't for the life of me, because I saw that too. I saw that, and I just can't for the life of me think that Tony Khan it wasn't going to wrap that up and have him in, because they, at this last pay-per-view they had, he and Christian against FTR, they had what was basically setting up another match, but FTR needs to win the titles. Edge and Christian win the titles from them, have one last run, yada, yada, yada. Everything's great. I think having him come in December and being John Cena's final opponent, because Chris, he and Edge had a great feud. It made Edge a Hall of Famer, his feud. It made him go to that next level. He is the inaugural winner of the Money in the Bank briefcase. He took it from Cena at New Year's Revolution. It would be great. I think it's nice, Rod. I just don't know if it's going to happen. Chris, would you care at all about that? Please say no.
I mean, I would, if they did it in a situation that Rod described, that at least gives suspense. That can keep me interested a little bit more, right? So hey, if nothing else, I can root for Rod to be wrong.
Well, and Edge did get an AEW crowd to go crazy when he did John Cena's moves. John Cena did Edge's spear, and then Edge did John Cena's five-knuckle shuffle. So
Easter eggs, Jimmy. All right. It's not April, but Easter eggs, my boy.
Speaking of John Cena, and speaking of Crown Jewel, next week, we've got John Cena and AJ Styles going against each other. We talked a little bit about it last week. I just think they're going to have a really fun match. AJ Styles continuously says he's retiring soon, which to me means he's not retiring soon, but I don't know.
Didn't AJ Styles walk down to the ring and retire in front of everybody with a nice suit on, and Cody Rhodes came down to give him a hug, and then AJ Styles attacked Cody Rhodes? Haven't we been down this road before? So I certainly hope that that's not what we're doing here, is teasing out AJ Styles going heel, as if that's going to, nobody wants to see AJ Styles heel. We all know that even though it might not be the end now, the end is near. So I love that the fans got to speak here and AJ Styles gets the match, but I worry about, the R-truth of it all, right? That, like you get pigeonholed in the WWE and then you're just there. You know what I mean? So like, okay, we're giving AJ this match because everybody wants it, but it's probably not going to really do anything for AJ. And it's certainly not going to do anything for John Cena because his schedule's already set. So cool.
I mean, if AJ wins, it does something for him. But no, I don't think anyone thinks AJ is going to win. This is a former world champion we're talking about here.
But you can't have, and again, you can't have Cena losing twice. He just got eliminated by Lesnar. You know what I mean? He can't turn around and lose to AJ Styles. So yeah, I mean, AJ's definitely on his back because that's what AJ does. But Jimmy,
Cena probably has 4 matches left, and he needs to win 3 of them.
Jimmy, listen, you're the host of this podcast, and I'm not going to hijack it from you, but I cannot believe that these are our first 2 topics, and we're not talking about the biggest thing that happened in wrestling last week.
Go ahead, talk about it.
I mean, we're not going to talk about the main event of Smackdown. We're not going to talk about the women's triple threat match and the botch and Jade's face and Daphne LaShawn. That's not what we're going to lead the podcast with the guy sitting up to the left of me and to the top of you, for those watching us, who talks about referee conspiracies all the time. We're not going to talk about the worst ever pull on a 2 count and Nia Jax kicking her shoulder up after the crowd had already counted 3 and they had broken apart from one another. We're not going to talk about any of that, Jimmy.
Have you ever heard of burying the lead, Chris? What's going on with this ref conspiracy, buddy?
I mean, it's pretty evident, right? People have been asking me for some clear and pointable evidence, and I think we got it on SmackDown, right? It was a clear, because there was either she thought that she was going to get interfered with or whatever it may be. Like, she did not want that tag to happen, right? And that was her decision. She forced that match to continue on. She risked the health of these wrestlers. There has to be an investigation into these referees, all right? We need to get some control. I hear every week from Adam Pearce or whoever that what the ref says goes, and they have the final say. Well, holy cow, that's not somebody I want making decisions when we see what happened on Friday.
It's so strange, because if you go back to when the WWE had house shows like 4 or 5 times a week, they were on the road 300 days a year. Okay, they're not on the road 300 days a year now. They've even practiced this match at some of those shows, overseas and things like that. So when a match doesn't go the way it's supposed to go, people freeze. Even before that, when Tiffany was supposed to break up the pin beforehand, Tiffany was late. I think Nia kicked out. She did kick out legit, and then she got drop kicked by Tiffany. We also had the fact that Jade Cargill probably couldn't see and probably was concussed because she had a gash in her head that was just disgusting. It was bleeding, but I thought it should have been bleeding a lot more than that, because that was a gigantic gash, Rod.
It absolutely was. And listen, I understand that things are going to go wrong and we're going to need to pivot. All right. And I don't want to sound like I'm blaming Daphne LaShawn too much here. Okay. But because she gets that that's not the finish, right? She has a job to try to help usher the match to the finish, right? So I get that. But what I would criticize her about, and the reason that she's not normally in main event spots, Jimmy, right? We normally get your Rod Zapatas, right? We normally get your Charles Robinson, right? Sometimes we'll get a Jessica Carr. We don't normally get a Daphne in a main event situation. And I think it's because she showed that she didn't have the ability to come up with a way to better sell that non-pin, right? The best she could do was absolutely pull her 3 count for no apparent reason, right? I think maybe she could have done something with the ropes there, or seemed like she lost her balance. You know what I mean? Something, right? Something like that, I think, would have been a more veteran referee move than just the blatant pull that she did. And frankly, the crowd kind of booed for a second right after she did it.
Yeah, so I think the veteran ref move would have been to count to 3, because it's on the talent to make sure they do what they're supposed to do, and the ref she just needed to count to 3. I think that was actually supposed to be the finish, but she might have gotten mixed up because Tiffany was not supposed to do her finisher, but that's kind of, they got on the mic to the ref, and the ref said, "Hey, do your finisher." Yeah, she should have just counted the 3, dude. That's all she needed to do.
Okay, but here's the other problem then, Jim. This will be my final point on it here. You're trouble from the start in this match, if you ask me.
Yes.
You're putting Daphne in as the referee. You're putting Nia Jax in, who's known for hurting people. Surprise, Jade Cargill got hurt. And then you have 2 people in Jade and Tiffany who are green and have trouble wrestling matches. So, I mean, you were just doomed from the start with this. Plus, it hurt the build versus Stephanie Vaquer, who you're trying. I mean, the whole thing is just, it's bad.
It wasn't very good. And I don't know how to remedy it unless you want to take away the health of the wrestlers and have them be on the road 300 days a year. Because you can wrestle, Chris, as much as you want to in a performance center setting. It's completely different with the crowd. Completely different, Chris.
Right, but like in any profession, any sporting profession especially, you do start out by practicing with no one, work your way up, and those that can still succeed in front of the crowd are the ones that continue to have a success, right? So instead of maybe keep pushing these people who may have issues in the ring, why don't we push some people that don't have issues in the ring?
Jimmy, hold on.
But it's a circle though. Then,
Yeah,
Chris, it's a big circle because you're not going to get them the experience they need unless they're in the ring on TV in front of a crowd. So how do you do that, Rod?
Okay, but what I was going to say, Jimmy, is you said that the move here is to count to 3, and you know that I always heed to your knowledge here. You are the vast experience of this podcast. I am a Padawan learner to your Jedi master, okay? But if the referee counts to 3 there and it's not the finish, right? So walk down that road with me for a second. You probably have read more stuff, and again, you know that maybe that was actually supposed to be the finish, but let's say for me it wasn't. And you said the move there is to count to 3 because that was on camera. We essentially then have referees shooting on wrestlers at that point if they're counting for a 3 on something that's not supposed to be the finish. And we don't want that because you and I don't like when wrestlers shoot on one another.
Well, that's the wrestler's fault, though. The referee's job is to basically produce the match, an in-ring producer, if you will, not in the back. But they need to count it and make it look as real as possible, because the second that happens, your suspension of disbelief goes out the window and you're thinking something completely different. You're thinking, oh, she messed up. What happened there? And then the ending, Tiffany was a deer in headlights. Yeah, it's...
All right, let's just be honest, right? Nia paid her, right?
Yes.
It's always Nia Jax on this podcast. Somehow it's always Nia.
It's not good for me, sister. No, I like that. Doesn't work for me, sister, I think is the quote. By the way, the 49ers are up 17-7.5. My pick on the Rams is going very good right now. Dude, I'm consistent. I am so consistent. My goodness.
But you know what, Jimmy? You know you're wrestling, and you just proved that to everybody with that great discussion there, right? I hope we got a couple of reels broken out of that good discussion that we just had right there. That's good stuff.
I think so. Dominic and Rusev had an interesting match. It was fine going forward, but they had a really good move where Dominic pretended he got hit with the belt, threw it to Rusev. It's the old Eddie Guerrero trick. And the ref's like, no, I actually saw you do that. Haven't seen that before. So I thought that was good, right?
You're right. Okay. You found the one thing in the match, and this is why you're a great podcast host. You found the one thing in the match that I was happy with. That made me chuckle. That to me was the Dominic Mysterio character in a nutshell. But
yeah,
I had a whole lot of other Dom thoughts, but I'm going to wait to see what Chris says here.
If it would have worked, it would have been another genius move by Dirty Dom. Straight out of his
good on Dirty Dom right now.
Real dad, one of his tricks.
Okay.
All right, so Jimmy, can I ask a question? Can I serve as the host here?
Yeah.
What am I to think of Dominic Mysterio? Okay, because we have Dom doing his AAA thing, right, where he is essentially the king of the world, right? He is the king of the world in AAA. The fans all go absolutely nuts for him. He calls himself the greatest luchador in the world. He's won the belt. He seems to wrestle just fine. I guess he's pulling still some underhanded, dirty tactics down there because he is Dirty Dom. But then we see him on WWE TV holding 2 belts, and this man is consistently afraid of every wrestler around the corner, right? So I mean, I have but then he gets cheered by the crowd. And like, there's so many things going on with Dominic Mysterio that ultimately I have to give the guy credit because he's finding layers. He's trying to do a character. He's finding things that may or may not get over, but I'm so confused with oh no, I don't really want to wrestle anybody. I'm the greatest luchador of all time. Double belts. Like I'm confused. And the last thing I want to say is he's so over that he doesn't need the Intercontinental Championship. Rusev taking that belt off of him after absolutely annihilating him and then having a mini Gunther type run where you get guys that are going up against, oh man, it'll be a big thing for me to take the belt from Rusev, kind of like it used to be a big deal for guys to try to take the belt from Gunther. That helps tell mid-card stories.
I'm surprised. We have a great champion out here, and he is such a noble and great champion that he doesn't really want to fight Rod. That's why he's trying to avoid the fight. But then you see what happens when he finally gets pushed in the corner and has to. He does nothing but win belts.
So you're saying he's using his brain and not his brawn, Chris?
Yeah. The greatest warrior finds a way to win without having to fight.
Is that Sun Tzu? Did you just Sun Tzu us right here? Is that Art of War?
There's a couple old Chinese parables I could rattle off if you want me to.
Rod, what do you think about Los Americanos? You love it?
Come on, give me more Los Americanos. I'm a little disappointed that
Rayo and Bravo?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is my Pete Dunne thing gone now? Like, what happened?
Well, Pete Dunne is always in our hearts, Jim, right? Like, that's,
Yes.
You know what I mean? Don't be sad that it's over. Smile because
He's on
it happened.
TV. He's getting paid.
Yeah.
That's good.
But I'm a little disappointed that we have already broken them off and made them their own characters. I kind of liked more the idea of like, hey, is this El Grande? Is this El Grande? Which one of these is El Grande? And everybody was playing up. Like, that to me was more of like the Naked Gun kind of comedy of all. When you make them a trio like that, then they're just a weird wrestling faction that really nobody should care about.
Just wait until El Grande Americano comes back and has to go against Rayo and Bravo and then El Grande Americano in a mask versus mask match.
I gotta break my character for a second and just give some love to Ludwig. All right, here is a German pretending to be a Mexican speaking fluent Spanish that's also trying to pretend to be an American. It is phenomenal work that he's doing.
I love how you're breaking your character. You're not the old man. It's like, I'm going to be a serious podcaster right now, gentlemen.
And that's not.
I am a wrestling fan.
Also, I don't know what Chris is saying. I don't know what he's talking about. Ludwig Kaiser. That's El Grande Americano. He's from the Gulf of America. I don't know what he's talking about. Ludwig Kaiser from Germany.
Thank you, Rod.
In the best angle. Well, see, the Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, the video packages are great. Becky Lynch needs to calm down a little bit, I think. They're going to have a terrific match. Like,
do we really need 30 minutes of it, though, during Raw?
I think it could have been an email. You know what I mean?
Or either just the video package or maybe just half of the in-ring crap, all right, whatever. Like, I timed it. I went back and timed it, all right? We were over 35 minutes of Seth and Cody on Raw.
I love to picture Chris with his stopwatch. This is the second straight week now. So I love to picture old man Chris there just sitting in his recliner with his TV tray there with some Ritz crackers, you know what I mean, and like a ginger ale, and he's got his timer out and he's like actually writing it down with the old quill on some old papyrus. That's how I picture him doing it.
A little bit of whale ink.
You know it's cottage cheese. You know it's cottage cheese.
No, it is not. It's tapioca.
Tapioca. Kofi Kingston almost died from LA Knight. We're just gonna have to wait and see where this Jey Uso thing's going to see which one of those guys is gonna turn heel.
Let's get there. Nope.
OTC,
let's go there.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. F the Bloodline. All right. We've seen this before.
Okay.
They're not going to win unless they help and schmoz each other out of situations, right? We had a great Texas Tornado tag team match, right? Braun and Bronson were going to win, and next thing you know, you had a Bloodline Smo come in and ruin the whole tag match and doing Bloodline stuff all over again. We got another 3 years of Bloodline schmoz coming our way.
Tough pod for Roman Reigns.
Yeah, you did not enjoy that. But here's the thing. Roman and Jay, best friends. Jimmy, though, Big Jim, my boy, my namesake, he didn't look very happy, right?
No, he did not. He foretold us of this. This is long-term storytelling paying off. Chris, you couldn't be more wrong about your Bloodline takes. You just couldn't be more wrong, my friend. This is what wrestling fans want. We want to be paid off for our time spent. And if you've been watching the Bloodline storyline and little things here and little things there, Roman coming back. When does he come back? When Jay starts to show signs of acting like Roman and taking out people for no reason and all of the above, right? And then what does Roman say to him when he's in the ring? This is your show, right? So we totally are paying off years of story here, Chris. And if you even get it deeper, decades of story because of this guy's family. All right, you can hate it all you want. This is like the fabric of professional wrestling.
Chris is
Still
just
don't like
angry.
the Bloodline.
I mean, he's right though. But again, of all the people that you care about to turn, is it really Jimmy Uso though?
I like Jim. I think what we're actually doing with Jim is a good long-term build, right? I think we knew that there was nowhere for Jimmy Uso to go when we were going to put the rocket ship on Jay, right? So what we did is we kind of little by little created this character for him, right? Big Jim started coming around a little bit more, right? The outfit started changing a little bit more. He started being able to do, great backstage bits. And anytime he would pop in, people were happy to see him. And so then we just have this generally good feeling about Jimmy Uso, right? And then like you said it, nobody wants Jay to turn. So if Jay does turn, who comes out looking like roses in this whole thing? Big Jim maybe finally gets his run.
And before we go, I know we talked a lot about it last week, but Rhea Ripley and Io Sky and the Kabuki Warriors are set for Crown Jewel. This time, Io Sky got all green mist, and Kyrie finally just, she beat him up. Listen, this is going to be a terrific matchup, and it's a feud that's going to go on for the next few months. I'm all for it, gentlemen.
I didn't like the stuff in the ring. I didn't like Io come, but they're my fam. I didn't like that. I get the story we're trying to tell, but like I'd rather just have her speak.
Not the best actress.
That's what I mean. I'd rather have her just speak in Japanese. You know what I mean? Like just have her speak in Japanese, and like we get the basic idea.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I'm excited. Right? I like all of these wrestlers. They're all great in ring. Kyrie probably be the least of the four for me, but we have seen great matches with all these wrestlers. I think if we get another 6 months of good matches, and I know there's no belts there, but I think it'd be real interesting and a lot of fun. I'd like to see a lot more Rhea versus Asuka, that's for sure.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows podcasting network. You're in the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
It's time to ban the Mexican Destroyer. All right, the chaos has gone on too long.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye, net. Yeah.
Little harmony there. I like it.
Grayson Waller, I see you.
Right.